Hello, I'm Javier Hakeem, and this is Harking Back, a podcast about the pop culture of a lifetime. Whose life? Mine. I'm going back through every year I've been alive and finding out what was going on in that year. This week we're looking at 2012. I was 30. 30 is a strange age because when you're growing up, I think 30 is the first age where you really think, no, that's old. But now I'm looking back in my 40s and realizing how young I still was. And if you're in your 20s right now listening to a man in his 40s yearn for the youth of his 30s and thinking, should I be scared? Yes. Yes, you should be. Time comes for us all. There's nothing you can do. It's an endless march towards the grave. However, enjoy them. 2012 was a big year for me and Annie because we got married. We got married in 2012. It was, yes, the year that the Mayans said the world would end. I got married to Annie. And it's a great day. It's really fun. Enjoy it if you're going to be having it. It goes by so quickly. It's a blur. It's exhausting, but in all the best way. If you are in the stage of planning a wedding, men, shut the fuck up and let her do whatever she wants. Okay? She's been planning this for a long time. She's been planning this since before she met you, okay? She already had an idea of what it was going to look like. You didn't know shit, okay? So just let her have it. I didn't say... No, there's one thing I did change. She wanted a different wedding song for her first dance. And she wanted like Michael Jackson's The Way You Make Me Feel. I was like, no, absolutely not. We're going for something classier. What did we go for? Michael Bublé's Moon Dance was our first dance. And we got someone we learned to dance. And I thought we did pretty good. So yeah, as a time of recording this, Annie and I just this week celebrated our 13-year anniversary. Been married for 13 years, unlucky for some. It's been good. And you really change over... This is one of my biggest fears, okay? If our marriage were to end for whatever reason, one of my biggest fears would be having to start over in the dating game, because I honestly don't know how people date today. Like all this online stuff, like what do you say? What do you say? What are the expectations? Like, can you date multiple people at a time? Like, what are the apps to avoid? What ones should you go for if you want a certain thing? I don't know. It's terrifying. It's so overwhelming, and I don't want to do it again. And I see some people doing it, and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing it. But something weird I've noticed that there has never been more dating advice, in quote unquote advice out there, like on socials from influencers, and yet the number of single people has never been higher. And by the way, all these dating influencers, they're always really young. I'm like, what's the longest relationship you've had? Shut the fuck up. Like, dating influencers should be, or relationship coaches should be old couples who have been married for 60 years. Those are the people you should be listening to, not some girl that's like, okay, this is how you should be treated, like, by a guy. And guys also that are like, hey, okay, I'm going to teach you how to fucking close a deal. Red flag, hard pass. I think even the people that are out there doing it sincerely, I think people are putting impossible standards on their relationships before they even begin. Like, you hear people go, you need someone who's this, that, and the next thing. And if someone doesn't have all that right now, doesn't mean they never will. People grow into themselves. And I think a lot of people forget that because they're already looking like 5 years down the line of a relationship before it's even started. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, and also the double standards sometimes. I saw a comedian, this girl talking about being single, and she was listing off all her issues, like her quirks, her insecurities, her mental health issues, all her shit. And she said, like, but a man better take me as I am. And like everyone cheers. And then she said, but I don't want a man with any baggage. And I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? What kind of hypocrisy is this? Hold on to those beliefs. All right? Just keep holding on to them and see how long it takes for you to find someone that loves hypocrisy. There's also this thing that's come around lately. It's the ick. People talk about what the ick is, what gives them the ick, and that is something that is a deal breaker. I saw a list of icks that someone had compiled from every ick that's been put out there from, I don't know. It's not a credible, it's an internet thing, okay? Like there's no governing body behind this. But there's this list of icks that apparently turn girls off, and it's a deal breaker, and I think I have a 90% hit rate on all of them. Like some of them are valid, like some of them are genuine, like, okay, that's a red flag. Like if like one of them was like, if they're rude to staff, when you go out and stuff. Yeah, that's a red flag. But others are just trivial. Like some ex will like things like they like doing air guitar or are an only child. Or one was like if they use 3-in-1 shampoo. I was like, there's another type of shampoo? If these are the kind of things that turn you off in a relationship, you don't deserve someone. I'm sorry. You don't. Sort your shit out. Who the fuck do you think you are? Sorry, this is all getting a bit personal, isn't it? Let's look at some things that happened in 2012. In the UK, the Queen Elizabeth II celebrates her Diamond Jubilee. The concert was awesome. We went to the park to go watch it, and Robbie Williams opened it with Let Me Entertain You. It was star-studded. Elton John, Annie Lennox, Tom Jones, Ed Sheeran, Stevie Wonder, Shirley Bassey. The Queen didn't even show up, by the way. It was for the people. She was that giving, / that tired, / that old, / I don't know who these artists are. Give me Mozart. I don't know, she's fucking old. Also that year, in royal news, the remains of King Richard III were found under a car park in Leicester. To which the Queen said, "How dare you try to steal my thunder, Richard? It's my year! My year! You sack of bones." UK keeps having things. It's a huge year, 2012 for the UK, because London hosts the Olympics, and Annie danced in the ceremony. They just held open auditions because they need a shitload of dancers for the opening ceremony, and she got in, and she had to do like about a long time of like Sundays. For a long time, for like about 2 or 3 months, every Sunday she had to go out to the stadium and learn the dance and do everything. And Danny Boyle was directing, the director of Trainspotting and Slumdog Millionaire. And he was they had this bit in the opening ceremony where they have dancers going through British music from each decade. And I think she was in the 80s. She sang along to like Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. And the underground, and the underground. I got to go to the dress rehearsal where it's the night before and they're just doing it, and it's like everyone's going, by the way, there's going to be a lot more fireworks and lights. You guys are getting the kind of shit version. And I scored huge points because she had told me what she was going to do, but she was like, there's going to be so many people around, you're not even going to see me. And I saw her and I picked her out. And she said afterwards, "Did you see me?" And I was like, "Yeah, you were doing this." And she was like, "Yeah, you did see me. Oh my God." And I was like, "Yeah, I get you. I get you. This is why you're marrying me." So she danced in the opening ceremony. And every time the Olympics comes up, we just got a little joke where she'll just say, I actually danced in the opening ceremony. And I'll pretend like I never heard the story. And I'll go, "Really?" And we do this little tete-a-tete every time, and it's very funny, and we enjoy it. So that's what's happening in the UK. Also, worldwide, this is big news. Wendy's overtakes BK, Burger King, to become the second best-selling burger chain. It didn't even say in the... it's McDonald's. It'll be McDonald's who's selling the most burgers. I think Burger King burgers are way better than McDonald's. And if it was a closer Burger King, I would be eating much more Burger King because I love it. I think I've told this story like on the podcast from like about 20 episodes ago. But when I was, before I met Annie and I was living in a flat, you just kind of cook your own food. But there was a BK on drive-through on my way home really close to my flat. So driving home for the day, a lot of the times I'd be like, I can't be arsed cooking. I'll just go get some Burger King. And one time I turned up, and I'd been there so many times that the girl handing me the food at the window looked at me and said, "Bro, you've got to stop coming here." And looking back, she could have lost her job by doing that. But she was like, "I will risk that to help this man stop him sending himself to an early grave. Like, he's eating way too much BK. I've got to step in. This is a citizen's intervention." That's how much Burger King I was eating. Ugh. And I loved it. I regret nothing. In 2012, James Cameron becomes the first person to visit Challenge Deep, which is the deepest part of the ocean. In the Mariana Trench. The first person in 50 years. It's like 11 kilometers down. And why would you go down that deep? No one did it in 50 years. Clearly, no one had a burning desire. I don't know why I said desire there. Sorry, I burped a little bit. That sounded a little bit weird, didn't it? No one had a burning desire to get back there. And also, I am so scared of open water. It's not funny. If I was stuck in a submarine, that was trapped underwater. I would be the first one to be murdered by the rest of the people on it because I'd be freaking everyone else out. I'd just be sitting in the corner going, game over, man, game over. That's it, we're done, we're all going to die. And people would be like, shut him up or I'll shut him up for good. And I'd be like, yeah, please, put me out of my misery. Just do it. I'm scared of open water. I'm terrified of deep water. I'm also scared of heights. But ground level, that's where I exist. That's where I shine. Shines as doing a lot of heavy lifting there, but yeah, that's where I like to be, ground level. It's really bad. Like Clara, my daughter, she knows that I'm scared of heights, and sometimes we go up on high things, and she'll be like, Dad, you've got to face your fear. Come up to the edge, and she'll grab my arm, and I'll start actively pulling back. But now she's old enough, she's actually got a bit of strength, and I can feel myself almost like wanting to just like fight her, like just be like, no, don't put me towards the edge, because I freak out and my instincts kick in. And it's funny, like I've been on the cusp of like finding out whether my fear of heights outweighs my love of my daughter, and I don't want to admit anything on this podcast. All right, ground level, that's where I be. That's where I be. That's where I be. What am I saying? Anyway, what else happens? In 2012, Disney buys Lucasfilm, which gives them the Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchises. And at the time, we all thought, this is great. Like, George Lucas hasn't been doing anything with these franchises. Turns out he was preserving them. He was preserving them because Disney has managed to run Star Wars and Indiana Jones into the ground. I don't know how you do that with these franchises. Like, they bought a golden goose and they somehow managed to turn it into a goose that's now laying poisonous eggs that cost $200 million a pop. George, I mean, fair enough. He sold it for $4 billion. All right. And by some of the online calculations I've seen, Disney has lost more than that on producing movies and IP on this IP. I mean, I know it was his baby. But if someone offered him $4 billion, like, yeah, absolutely, sell it. Like, if someone offered me $4 billion for my daughter, I don't know. She's my baby. I love her, but like $4 billion, especially if she's dragging me towards an edge on a high place, I'd be like, yep, $4 billion sold. All right, let's have a look at the games. I can hear my parents listening to this podcast and them just going, we're going to have a talk to you. I'm joking, obviously, or am I? Let's have a look at the games that released in 2012. You got big titles that released this year, things like a lot of sequels, things like Borderlands 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Max Payne 3, which I tried really hard to love, but just did not hit like the first two. He's just so broken in it, and it's losing a bit of its lovely noir edge by that point. Diablo 3 comes out, Halo 4. This isn't a sequel, but a game called Sleeping Dogs comes out, which is fun. It's a GTA-style game, but set in Hong Kong, where you're committing crimes for the triads. I think they really missed a trick here, and they should have called it Grand Theft Asian. They would have sold so many more. And if you've ever played this game, you know it's exactly Grand Theft Asian. It's really weird. It's the first game like this that I've played that's set in a country where they drive on the left. And I kept getting into cars and just going on the wrong side of the road because I'm used to playing GTA, and just going like, oh shit, wrong side of the road. Clash of the Cans. I meant to say Clash of the Clans is hitting hard on mobile phones, but then I kind of thought about a game called Clash of the Cans, which is just some developer that does more heroin than coding. We made an app called Clash of the Cans. Okay, so on your mobile you just clash these cans together and hear the clink. The final boss is tying all of them to a car of a just married car. What am I saying? Shut up. Indie games in 2012 are becoming a lot more prevalent. Like, people are starting to search out different experiences, you know, like games like Fez and Journey, which, like Journey especially, gives a slower, richer, more heartfelt experience. They're very popular this year. And even indie games that are super violent, like Hotline Miami, they're taking a bold step away from modern gaming aesthetics and embracing a much more retro style of graphics and play. I think people are really around this time starting to realize, like, some studios with the money are going to be able to push the boundaries of graphics and performance, and other studios are going, we're never going to beat them at doing that, so let's go completely in a different way and really choose a different style, and those are the ones that win. Game of the year for me, XCOM Enemy Unknown. Like, this game is a reboot of the old XCOM series, which, if you played them on PC back in the early 90s, well done you for persevering with the awful controls of what was going on there. This is a game which sees you commanding a military force known as XCOM against aliens that are invading Earth. You do have to do some base management and expansion, but the crux of this game is the missions, where you command a squad of soldiers in turn-based combat. Turn-based combat? What the fuck? Yes, I know. I didn't think I'd like turn-based combat either, but goddamn, I do now. The reason this game is so gripping is because you form an attachment to your soldiers, okay? They've all got names, they've got a country they're from. After you progress them for a little bit, you can give them a nickname, you control their loadouts and everything, and their aesthetics, you can customize them. You form an attachment to these soldiers like nothing I've ever experienced in a game before. You're responsible for them, you name them, you customize them, as I said, you lead them into battle, and like Apollo in Rocky IV, if they die, they die. Dead soldiers in this game stay dead. They are not coming back. And if you're playing this game with the Iron Man option on, which is no relation to the Avenger, it's an option in game that means that you cannot reload previously saved games. So if they die, they are dead, and you mourn them. My God, you mourn them. In the middle of a mission, one of them will die, and you just go, oh shit, we lost Sarah. And there's even a memorial in your base where you can go and see pictures of the fallen, those who have fallen under your command. And bagpipes play. It's brutal. It's brutal. And I've never had that before in a game, like an attachment to these characters that you're not even playing as. They're not your character. You're in charge of them. And I wonder if that psychologically makes it harder. Like, they were just listening to your orders, that they were under your command. They were your responsibility, Annie and I were, we were on the tube once, and she noticed I was a bit down, or I had my head clearly, I was thinking about something, and she said, what's going on? And I told her that I'd lost a soldier in the game. And in the time telling her that I'm losing this soldier, we missed our stop on the train because I was telling her. And she was so dark about having missed our stop because I lost a virtual soldier. She was like, I cannot believe we missed our stop and it's going to add another 15 minutes to our journey because you're mourning over a fucking video game character that doesn't even exist. And I was like, but you don't get it. You'd be with me from the start. This is one of the best games I've ever played, and you should play it only if you like strategic turn-based. I mean, I didn't think I'd like turn-based. I love it now because it's so gripping and because the stakes are so high. Play it if only to feel what it is to lose those you value. Can you tell I've not had much trauma in my life? Movies in 2012. There are some big things that are happening in the movies. Like, this year is famous for Disney losing a lot of movie on a movie called John Carter. It flops hard. It loses $200 million. And it becomes the staple as an example of how movies... because I think there was an idea just if you just threw enough money at a movie, it would make money. If you just go in hard with the marketing. And this movie did, and no one went to see it and lost a shitload of money. Anyway, John Carter is... And I feel really bad. I don't know who the main actor was, but I think he became a bit of box office poison. No one wanted to touch him because he was in that huge flop, and it was so not his fault. I haven't seen John Carter, but by all accounts, it's fine. It's fine. Just, the audience didn't want to go for it. I mean, also, get a better name. John Carter? It's no John Wick, is it? In 2012, Devil Wears Prada comes out. I think I've seen this movie about 20 times because it's one of Annie's favorites, and when it's on, it's just one of those movies where she flicks on, she's like, we're watching this, and I'm like, shit, here we go again. It's got, oh god, shit, what's her name? Regarded as the best actress in the world. She's won, oh my god, she's won so many Oscars. Oh, she not like Glenn Close, but not. That does not help. It'll come to me. She's in Sophie's Choice. Oh my God, why can't I remember her name? Why can I not remember her name? Everyone talk. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. I'm not looking it up. It's also got Anne Hathaway in it. Oh, what is her name? So-and-so in Sophie's Choice. Not Helen Mirren. Oh God, I know it's going to just... Oh, it's going to annoy me so much. Okay, I'm just going to talk about this one bit and it's going to come back to me, okay? There's this bit that is so inane in Devil Wears Prada, if you've seen it. It's where Anne Hathaway's character, she's in Paris and she finds out her boss, who was played by a very famous actress that I've just had a total mind blank about. She sleeps with this guy. It's Simon Baker, who's the mentalist, if you know that guy, from the TV show. Anyway, she sleeps with this guy and stays the night in his hotel room. So they sleep together. And in the morning, she finds out that his company is going to be screwing over her boss, right? And she's like, oh my God, she feels so betrayed by this guy. And he's going, hey, there's nothing you can do about it. And she's trying to get all the things to get out of there. And he goes, baby, it's done. And she turns around and looks at him really defiantly, goes, I'm not your baby. And then she leaves. And he could not give less of a shit. He just goes, oh, okay. And why would he? And he carries on eating his breakfast. She's like, I'm not your baby. He's like, well, you were my bitch last night. So we had sex last night. Okay, go, fine, whatever. Take yourself a croissant on the way out. It's just so supposed to be this really defiant moment, which actually means fuck all. And that bit always just annoys me in this movie. What is her name? What is her name? God damn it. So-and-so. Devil Wears Prada. I can see her face. Is it with M? Something with M. Oh, I know you're screaming at me right now with it. I know you are. I know it's going to come back to me. I know it. Damn it. Let me just carry on. Fuck, it's going to come back to me. No, I don't have it. It's right there. I know. And she's used as she's used as like the pinnacle of actresses and acting talent. You know? Oh my God. This is so annoying. I'm going to carry on. It's going to come back to me. Hunger Games movies launched this year. What the fuck is her name? I'm not looking it up. It's going to come to me. She plays Miranda Frost. No, she doesn't play Miranda Frost. That's someone else. She plays Miranda something for Vogue magazine. The movie also has Stanley Tucci in it. God damn it! What is her fucking name? I'm trying to think of other movies she's in. She was in Kramer versus Kramer. Oh, she's in Mamma Mia as well. God damn. Okay, I'm just going to move on. It's going to come to me. The Hunger Games movies launched in 2012. And remember when they were huge? Remember when Jennifer Lawrence was huge? Remember when everything was about the Hunger Games and like, may the odds be ever in your favor? That's one of the things I always say about driving around London. Because sometimes in London, on one side of an intersection, there'll be 3 lanes, and on the other side, there's suddenly just 2. So just fight. And every time you kind of go through this intersection, it feels like someone's going, may the odds be ever in your favor. For a movie franchise about the poor working class rebelling against the lavish elite, it's starting to look less like science fiction and more of a roadmap for the coming years. By the way, it's just a podcast, okay? I'm not saying anything. This is just a podcast. But also, welcome to the Resistance. The Amazing Spider-Man drops in 2012 with Andrew Garfield. It comes out, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was fun. I love the way Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man moves during fights. He really fights like a spider, or has really got a lot of inspiration from spider movements. The only thing about Andrew Garfield is like Peter Parker is supposed to be this nerdy kid that no one looks twice at, and you got Andrew Garfield, who is just tall and dashing and handsome. And he's there with his amazing hair as well, trying to be like, oh, high school's so hard. I'm like, is it for you tall, gorgeous man? What the fuck is her name? What is her name? Okay, if I haven't thought about it at the end, I'm sitting here until I get it. Okay? I'm not going to forget. Don't let me forget. Okay? In fact, I'll never do this. I'm going to skip ahead and just put a little thing at the end. Devil Wears Prada. Make a little note here. I know, I could just look it up, but no, I'm not. I'm not going to work, brain, work. Where was I? Okay. Some fun new franchises launched this year as well, like Pitch Perfect, get the first pick, Pitch Perfect, and Magic Mike. Magic Mike, number 1, really fun. It's really fun. Matthew McConaughey is just having the time of his life in that one, isn't he? Django Unchained drops by Quentin Tarantino. It's got Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz. I think Christoph Waltz does not a shadow on his performance as Colonel Hans Landa in Inglourious Bastards, but hey, he's solid. I think Django Unchained could have been cut down in runtime for a better film, but Leonardo DiCaprio steals the show with a fantastic performance in this. There's a bit where he's really angry and he slams his hand down on a skull and his hand starts bleeding, and apparently that wasn't in the script, just it started bleeding and then he just used it and they ran with it. You notice when you do this, you have to be a big name actor to just like start improvising like that. You can't be like an actor with one line that comes and serves the food and be like, oh yeah, and suddenly I cut myself on a glass and I just started bleeding all the other actors. And I was just like, let's use this. You will get fired immediately. Let's look at the top 5 movies in 2012. At number 5 is Ice Age Continental Drift, which this animated movie beats out the latest Pixar movie, Brave, which came in at number 13 this year, and Disney's own Wreck-It Ralph, which came in at number 14. Number 4 is The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. What a way to taint one of the best theatrical trilogies of all time with this shameless cash grab of a movie and subsequent trilogy. Like, I'm all for getting money. All right? I'm all for artists getting paid. I even made a top 5 about why I'm happy to sell out. But then again, I didn't make the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have no artistic masterpiece to stand behind. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not Peter Jackson up there with this amazing piece of work and then just squander it by making the Hobbit trilogy. Like, Peter Jackson, shame on you. You knew this was a 1-movie book. But then no one is offering me millions and millions of dollars to stretch out one book into 3 movies. At number 3 is Dark Knight Rises, the end of the Nolan trilogy of Batman movies. And I'm just going to say it was boring. It's a boring movie. I mean, it's got flashes of being a good Batman movie at times, but overall, it's really boring. It drags on. It's like, this is what happens when superhero movies take themselves too seriously. Christopher Nolan taking himself too seriously. Who would have thought? It's long. It's drawn out. There are so many scenes that are bereft of any joy. And Bane's voice. How did this get through to the final cut? This voice that he chose. No one said anything along the way. Hundreds of professionals with years of experience in making movies heard Tom Hardy talk like this. This is my Bane. And they said, yeah, that's Bane's voice right there. Yeah, nail it. Thank you for that experiment. Honestly, half the people in the cinema were just going, what? Sorry, mate, what? Could you... It was boring. Prove me wrong. Fight me on this. It was boring. It's no Dark Knight. You know what? I'll say it. I think the Nolan Batman trilogy is really good. It's very good, but it's not this masterpiece that people talk about. It's got flaws, okay? Stop pretending it's the thing to be held on high for superhero movies. It's not. It's good. It's very good. Is it super enjoyable? Let's face it, it's a bit of a hard watch at times. Anyway, at number 2 is Skyfall. This is a brilliant Bond movie. And this is just what we needed after Quantum of Solace. Like, the Daniel Craig movies go like good with Casino Royale, bad with Quantum of Solace, good with Skyfall, bad with Spectre, and then with No Time to Die. Yeah. Anyway, Skyfall, the last great Daniel Craig Bond. There is an overarching theme of age in this Bond. Like, Bond is getting older and suffering for it. No, like, the new villain, he uses like new tech, and it's versus old school Home Alone traps at the end of it. Flashy assault rifles versus farm shotguns. Even the car's retro, like the old Aston Martin DB5. When they uncovered the Aston Martin DB5 in this movie, the one from Goldfinger, there were gasps and cheers from the audience. But they were British cheers, so it was more just people muttering, "My word." And at number one, The Avengers. The Avengers, they did it. They pulled it off. The ambition was unthinkable. I mean, there hadn't been a movie tie-in of this size and scope in cinema history. You know, they brought in Iron Man 2, the Hulk, Thor, Captain America. Everyone thought it was too big to succeed, but they nailed it. We got to see Thor fight Iron Man and Captain America. We saw Hulk hulking out. We saw Hawkeye actually fire an arrow. And I would argue the best display of Black Widow's espionage skills, which is something no one else in the Avengers brings to the table. The scene near the start where she's a prisoner, but turns out she's actually working them for intel, and the scene where she deduces Loki's plan through her own deception. Like, this is why she's on the team. This is why she's there. These are her skills. This is where she shines. You know, she's never going to beat these other guys in like strength or, you know, fighting ability. So showing a different side of like, oh, that's why she's a great asset to the team. That was great. And we got a big old fight of heroes versus disposable alien army at the end, which is what you want in an Avengers movie. Say what you will about them, but like at one point in this big fuck off superhero movie like this, you do just want to see your superheroes plowing through opponents. It's fun. Let us have our fun. Okay? So funny thing about this is the top 4 out of the top 5 movies this year went past the $1 billion mark at the global box office. Like, these days, it's a lot harder for movies to do that. And when it does happen, you really hear about it. And it's funny, like, more movies need to go past that $1 billion mark to make money because they're spending so much goddamn money on them. Because, like, Captain America Brave New World that's about to come out, I think it's reportedly up to, like, about $400 million to have made this movie. $400 million with all the reshoots and everything. Like, you spend that on the movie and then... Is that including marketing? But you have to kind of double that to get your money, to make it seem like it was worth it, right? So that's getting close to $1 billion. I don't think it's going to do it. Anyway, let's see. My picks for the top movies of this year, things like 21 Jump Street, which is so much fun and definitely laugh out loud. It's a really great comedy. Looper is interesting and lovingly shot. And well done, Rian Johnson, for now. Moonrise Kingdom comes out, and it's Wes Anderson pumping out another pleasing pastel picture. I think it's one of my favorites of Wes Anderson. End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena it's a visceral, eye-opening movie about the lives of LAPD officers. But my movie of the year, I mean, I was going to say Avengers, but like, let's get something off the top 5, is Dredd, as in Judge Dredd, just called Dredd. You know how I said Dark Knight Rises is a comic book movie that takes itself too seriously and isn't fun? This is a comic book movie that takes itself seriously and nails it. Like, I was never a big Judge Dredd fan. I mean, I found the Sly Stallone one they did in the 90s fun, but I didn't really know the lore, and I understand now why it pissed off a lot of fans. But I thoroughly enjoyed this without knowing too much about Dredd at all. I mean, it's simple. Like, they're trapped in an apartment building with bad guys. The odds are very much against them. And the world building in this movie is effective without being laborious. The sets are dark and gritty, yet still pop with this kind of sexy cyberpunk style. The action is blunt and brutal, which is echoing the character of Dredd. Carl Urban inhabits the role with complete commitment to the point of not removing his helmet, like the character never does. If you liked The Raid, the Indonesian movie, which I think I missed in the 2011 podcast, but that's a fantastic movie as well. This is very much in the same vein. I mean, fans loved it, but sadly, a sequel looks like it's been held in development hell for over a decade, and it's very unlikely to happen. Let's look at music and songs this year. I found out in 2012, Bruce Springsteen did a 4-hour show in Helsinki, Finland. He's 63 at the time and played for 4 hours. I'm 42 and I couldn't do anything for 4 hours. Even if I spent 4 hours relaxing, but when I got up, I would have pulled something. I'd just be like, oh shit, I overdid it. I know that much. Another big song this year is What Makes You Beautiful from One Direction, which is a banger. It's really catchy. I like it. And it's one of those songs where there was a cover of it done by a couple of Kiwi boys on their couch. And look it up. Look for like One Direction New Zealand cover. These boys, it went viral and apparently they got a record deal in the States somewhere. But they sing in a New Zealand accent, which is so very rare to hear. It sounds really weird. Like, everyone else in the room can see it. I make it sound terrible. These guys actually made it sound palpable. It's something you never really hear. Even New Zealand, 99% of New Zealand artists will sing in an American accent. And they sang it in a New Zealand accent, and it went viral, and I'm amazed they did it. Check it out. Talking about covers, there was a big song this year called Sexy and I Know It by LMFAO. You know that Sexy and I Know It. And it's very kind of like digitally produced. There's a great acoustic cover of it on YouTube by a guy called Only One Knower, and he turns it into this like husky, sexy, ballady acoustic version of it. It's really good. I think it shits all over the original. Anyway, check it out. At number 5, what the fuck is her name? What is her name in Devil Wears Prada? Oh. Names keep bouncing around my head. I will get it. Her face just popped into my head, and I was like, God damn it, I don't. What's your name? Top 5 songs in 2012. We've got at number 5, Lights by Ellie Goulding. Sure. And number four is Payphone by Maroon 5. I mean, I like Maroon 5, but this song is really a nothing song. I actually had to look it up on YouTube because I was like, what song is that? And I think it was just an excuse to make the music video of an action movie for the lead singer, Adam Levine. And lead singers, I know they're the kind of always the front men, but like the band's got to look at this and go like, what's going on here? Why is Adam like the only one in this music video and he's the hero? And what the fuck is going on here? This is why bands break up. This is why I see it. I see it now. And number 3 is We Are Young by Fun. You know that one. Tonight, we are young. That one. The band's name is Fun. And also, this is the sincere soft rock song of the year. It made it to number 3. I mean, Fun. What a name for a band. Fun. It's... Come on. Like, it's... Put anything else in front... Any word in front of Fun and you get a better band name. Like Midnight Fun. Lunch Fun. Glasshouse Fun. Feel free to play along. Just anything in front of Fun. And you get a better band name. Fun sounds like a Christian band playing a children's party. Like, hey everyone, we're Fun. Who's ready for some fun? Who's ready for fun to start? You know, it's just, come on, get a better name. Number 2 is Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen. She went on to have quite the career, I'm sure. And at number 1 is Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier featuring Feet Kimbra from New Zealand. This song was huge. Remember, it was everywhere. You know, it's now you're just somebody that I used to know. They use a sample in this song of Bar Bar Black Sheep on a xylophone. It was so bizarre. Bar Bar Black Sheep, also the tune for the alphabet. Like, you know, just in the interlude, they go dun 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 dun. First time I heard it, I was like, oh, what a cool bit. And then I realized, it's fucking Bar Bar Black Sheep. What is that doing in this song? Do they have to pay royalties to a sheep? The richest sheep in the world by now. This song went crazy viral. I remember I was walking along the street one day, I was waiting at the lights, and a van, tradie van, with the tradesman pulls up at the lights, and he's blasting this song, and his window's open. And we both just see each other listening to the music, and we both realized we're both bobbing our heads, and we gave each other the kind of the man nod of recognition and acknowledgement, and all was good in the world. All was good. Those moments are few and far between. They need to come back. As popular as number 1 was, and it's funny because it went to number 1, and I don't think it was nearly as big as another song that came out in 2012, and that is Gangnam Style by Psy. Why is it not in the top 5? Because I think it went huge on YouTube mainly. This song takes the world by storm. You know it. You know Gangnam Style. This is the year that Kim Jong-un also takes power in North Korea. And I would love to think that he would have seen that like Korea was trending on his phone, the only phone that gets Western social media. And he would have thought for a second, oh, looks like I'm trending here, surely. And then he clicks on it only to hear like, hey, sexy lady. It was huge. And I love that it was a Korean song that everyone in the world was listening to. Like when Squid Game came out a few years ago and young people were saying, I can't believe a South Korean phenomenon has such global reach. It was like, hold my beer. Let's not forget Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style walked so that Squid Games could run. Like, child, hold my beer and let me tell you of a dance made for people that could not dance. It was called Gangnam Style. Interestingly, this was the first YouTube video ever to get over 1 billion views. And I swear I was the last person to hear about this song. My friend Dan, who was, let's say, into alternative music tastes and stuff, he came over to visit us in London and he mentioned Gangnam Style. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Gangnam Style, you would have heard this. And I went, no, what are you talking about? And he thought I was fucking with him. And he puts a song on and I see that this song has got 1 billion views. I'm like, wow, so this is a huge song. He's like, I cannot believe you've not heard this. And I couldn't believe that Dan, my friend Dan, who just, if you know it, he would be the last person to, you would think he would have been the last person to hear Gangnam Style. And he's the one telling me about it. Weird. All right, Times Person of the Year this year is Barack Obama. Well done, Barack. Who would have thought that the States would have a president called Barack Hussein Obama? Well done, mate. Personally, in my life, what was going on? I did the Buskers Festival this year in Christchurch. This was a bit of a highlight for me. It's a festival I'd always revered and wanted to get into, and I got to do my solo show there. I was doing my show Card Ninja, which was a mix of cards and stand-up, and even back then some songs. I threw some songs in there with the guitar. And I did, what was it like? I did about 12 or 13 shows at the Christchurch Casino. The show was on at 10 o'clock at night. And this was just before our wedding. So we'd come home, and the festival coincided. So we were going to come home early, plan the wedding while I did the festival as well, and then go get married. And over one night, this is all just me, just solo show, hour, just me. One night, Annie's parents are coming, so I'm super nervous about her parents coming to see me perform. But not only that, they've invited a whole bunch of their friends. And I know that they're going to be watching me, a lot of them for the first time, but also judging the hell out of me by going, let's go see the clown that your daughter has decided to marry. Let's go see this guy throw his cards and sing his songs and tell his jokes. Let's go see what this is all about. This could be fucking awful. So I'm so nervous backstage, just going, thinking, if this goes badly, oh God, the wedding's going to be so awkward. It's going to be awkward for them. They're going to be embarrassed for me. It's everything. And just before we're about to go on, the technician comes backstage and goes, oh, by the way, the reviewer for the Christchurch Press is in tonight. Okay, have a good one. So on top of all that, then there's the reviewer for the main newspaper in Christchurch. Ugh. But I went out there and had one of the best shows ever of the run, and I was really happy. I was really happy with it. Oh my God, very happy. When I was doing the show at the casino, Annie would normally come in at the end to meet me, and we would, at the casino, we'd always kind of like to go to the casino. What we love doing is going to a casino, and we don't do this very often at all. I don't know. Why am I defending? Yeah, we like going to the casino sometimes to play we find the lowest stakes blackjack table and just play that like a $2 blackjack table. No, you couldn't find those anymore. Like a $5 blackjack table back in the day. And just play a little bit of blackjack. We love doing that. And we met these two American guys that were stationed at an Air Force base in Christchurch because it's a refueling base for, is it? No. The US Air Force uses a New Zealand base. Anyway, the US has some Air Force personnel in Christchurch because it's a refueling station before they get to Antarctica, to McMurdo base in Antarctica. Anyway, so we talk to these guys and we see them 2 nights. And we find out that they're stationed there and they have to do fuck all. They're really bored. That's why they keep coming to the casino. And we say to them, half show's not till 10 o'clock. Why don't you come over to Annie's parents' place for dinner tomorrow night? And they're like, oh, you're not going to show up. You're just saying that. And we're like, no, we'll pick you up and we'll take you. And so we pick them up and we take them to Annie's parents' house for dinner. And we find out, as they're separate, we're talking to one of them on their own. We thought they were really, really good friends. And one guy says to me, he goes, this guy's kind of freaking me out. I live with him. He's an ex-Mormon, or is a Mormon. And he freaks me out sometimes. Anyway, my first impression of he's fine. I'm just sitting in a chair and the dude comes up and just starts massaging my back. And he's just going, you're so tight here. Let me just get in here. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, you just go for it. And then over dinner, we find out that he was a Mormon as the other guy said. And he was stationed in Korea. And he said he had to learn fluent Korean. And we were like, wow. And he said, the Koreans, they love their songs. And I learned a lot of folk songs. And I'm like, okay. And when we were washing up, it's just me and his mum and this guy. We're kind of just pottering about, drying dishes and what have you. And in the middle of the kitchen, he just starts singing in Korean. He starts like this slow kind of like folky Korean song. And he's singing it loudly and sincerely and with this air of like, I will now sing to you the Korean lullaby, which brings good luck. We just standing there, and then he's singing at one point with his eyes closed, and that's when me and his mum look at each other like, we just have to wait till this is over, right? Yeah. I told Annie, and she just almost wet herself laughing. But true to his word, like we got a taxi from Annie's place to the casino because we were all going there. And it just so happened that our taxi driver was Korean, and this guy just chatted to this guy in Korean. And we could tell he was speaking Korean really well because the taxi driver was so surprised that anyone was speaking Korean and also so fluently. So say what you will about the Mormon church, probably better than Duolingo. That year that I did the Buskers Festival at the end of the season, they give 2 awards out. One is for Best International Act and one is for Best National Act. And I won the award for Best National Act. And the organizer said, we're going to have the prize giving. You should definitely come. And I was like, I was going to go see some friends because I'm only in Christchurch for a little bit. She goes, you should definitely come. Brackets, you've won an award, so make sure you're there. And so my family come along as well. And the award is a cash prize, but also there's a sculpture from a local artist made out of cast iron. And it's called the Iron Chicken. And it's like a statue of a chicken made out of cast iron. And it's yellow and it's got the red, mohawk thing. And I was really so happy to win this. Not just for me, but for the first time. It was the first time I could actually show my parents having quit my job and moved to London to be a performer and everything. It was the first time I could actually show them something tangible and hold it up and go, see, this is proof that it's going okay, that I'm good at this, that it could be viable, that, look, I've got a cash prize, I've got a fucking award, I've got a real award, you can touch it, right? And it was the first time, because other things that happen in your career, like the first time you do an hour on your own or, you get into this club, I remember telling my parents, but I could just tell they just didn't know what that meant. They were like, is that a good thing or is that just something that everyone does? So this was one of the first times I could be like, see, this doesn't happen to everyone. This is good. And I got it and I came down and I showed my family proudly. And the first thing my dad said when he looked at the trophy, he said, it looks like the Nando's chicken. And I went, thanks, Dad. That's so beside the point. Now, what the fuck is her name? She plays Miranda Hartley. I know I could just end this by looking it up, but I don't. Mamma mia. What is her name? Is it Sophie? Helen. No, we said not Glenn Close. Everyone says like, oh my God, I'm sitting there next to Meryl Streep. It's Meryl fucking Streep. Meryl Streep. It's Meryl Streep. Got it. It's Meryl Streep. I did not look that up. I swear to God, that has been itching on me. Meryl fucking Streep. Did it. I do not know why. I could not get her name for ages. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you guys next time. It's Meryl Streep. There it is. I'll see you next time. Bye.